Good morning. Lord, we come to you with humble hearts. We want to thank you for everything that you have done. Thank you for all of the good decisions that we have made for 2023. Lead us in our right mind coming to 2024, so we can make sure that we take care of the citizens of Jefferson County and the world. In Jesus' name.
Go ahead, since you're on a roll, let's go ahead and begin with your agenda, and then we'll come back to District 1. Good morning.
I move your entire agenda.
Okay, it's been first and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That's in.
So now we'll go to District 1. I move your entire agenda.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and properly seconded for the entire agenda for Public Works Community Service and Intergovernmental Relations Committee. I know you did. All those in favor, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you.
So now, we'll go to District 3. We have one item of new business, which was the approval of the minutes from November the 30th. And there is a pen and ink change. There is a Board of Zoning Adjustments appointment that was inadvertently put on District 5 that should be in District 3. Those are the changes that we need. The chair will entertain a motion for the consideration of one item of new business.
Second.
It's moved and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair will entertain a motion to.
Yeah.
It's been moved and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. The rest of this in is any questions?
I did have one as it relates to county manager item.
Yeah.
Explain items 1 and 2 to me. I don't want to say it publicly, but 1 and 2, is that like the contractual obligation?
Yes, you had a program for the ARPA program, and this is the, I guess, the second payment.
So it's something we've already passed.
Right,
We just had to pay the part.
right, and then, but the second item is just correcting the typo for the termination date, no other change to the second.
Okay, move that.
So, okay, so talking about my entire agenda.
I got a couple of questions. Joe, move 1 and 2 under the county manager, I think.
Yeah, that's what I said.
That's what I
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Second.
said. Aye.
Okay.
What's gonna be the cost of the Shannon landfill at county? I know this is just preliminary. Do you know more?
Commissioner, I've heard a number around 5-6 million, but really don't go on until this group gets in and sees how bad the infiltration is and that type of stuff. Hopefully it won't be that much, but it could.
Is that something that we've anticipated? I mean,
It's something to prepare for. Well, coming out of the bankruptcy the last 10 years, we really didn't prepare for it. But we've known it for a couple of years, and so we really need to do this piece to prepare for it better once we find out. Maybe it won't be that bad. But, so no, we don't have a big savings account for it.
I move 1 through 7.
Second.
Have a motion and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
I move the county attorney.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Wait a minute, you got your instruction.
And I move your appointment to the board of adjustment.
All in favor say aye.
It's listed on Mike's.
It was on mine.
It's right, it's like the whole last page.
It was inadvertently put on there, we changed it.
Oh, okay, that's what you were talking
That's what the other one was.
about.
Before I give up the floor, our 10th year anniversary of being removed from bankruptcy this past weekend. I don't believe anybody found the significance of that. Former Commissioner Carrington texted me, and, you know, it was a very traumatic experience that we went through, and it was still remembered now. And I want to congratulate the commission and the legal staff and our county manager and his staff. Those that were here, it was Knight, Theo, and myself. It has a great deal of significance to us. And if you go to check, I believe we did make provisions for the closure of the landfill in 2013 as we were moving forward. I'll look and see if I have any information on that. I think at that time it was considered to be about $5 million. And of course I can understand that it would be changed a little bit, but I believe, Angela, that should be in some of our financial documents dating from that period of time. So we were aware of that, and it was classified as unfunded, and I think we did change that to a funded item at that time. County manager, you got anything?
No, sir.
Commissioner?
Yeah, I got a text from David too on the bankruptcy. Well, that's some perilous times, one of the hardest decisions I've had to make as a commissioner. Because you're faced with one, we were on an island, absolutely. We had no support anywhere. And, you know, you had to make this decision as to, well, is this going to be the end of Jefferson County if we do, like so many of the naysayers said. But yet we got through it, and we really have proved the naysayers wrong in what we've done since then. So congratulations to everybody that's been a part of that, and that's everybody in this room except for those that just came in last week or something.
The backbone that we have.
Especially.
What, we had no support from the business community at all. We had no support from the state government at all. And you can look at some of the cartoons that they had. They had us all with our backs together, saying we'll fight anybody.
We would fight club.
Yeah, we were the fight club. And that's still on my refrigerator in there.
I said, I'll open some.
Yeah. So,
And our illustrious governor at the time said, that's a county problem.
that's a county problem.
Love, Gov.
Yeah.
Robert Bell.
Robert, yeah. So he said, that's a county problem. We asked for help. And it turned, it was a county problem. He said, we won't help. So, we took it on our shoulders to solve it. And, we did. Now we don't have that problem anymore. And with the policies that we put in place and the management team that we have, it's our goal to never be in that kind of shape again. We appreciate you. God bless you. Joe and I, Theo, especially because we've been through it. Don't want to do it again, do we, Theo?
We spent many a time up and down the fourth floor. Those were hard times. Anyway, but that's behind us. We're gonna move forward. It's a new year. Christmas is coming, so let's brighten it up a little bit. Look, Christmas time.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, finance. I have a item of new business in that the unusual demands did not get put on the agenda, so.
How you trying to improve that with, your district court report? I'm asking, are you trying to?
No, I'm just starting. I'm at the finance, that's finance.
Okay.
And the unusual demand report didn't make it to the agenda. So I would like a motion to add.
Move for the unusual demand report to be considered.
Have a motion and a second, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And we'll get that unusual demand and get it on for you. It's nothing really unusual, but it's just a usual report, so. All right, Ms. Dixon.
Good morning, Commissioners. The additional items under finance, we have the encumbrance report, the purchasing agenda report, and the purchasing exception report. Are there any questions about those items?
Have a motion
Second.
and a second, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Under budget management office, we have individual staff.
Do we have a motion? Second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All right, we have the circuit clerk, we've got a resolution. Have a motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And one abstention. All right,
That's your idea.
we'll take it as a motion to have a second.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. All right, developmental services, C 230018. Michael?
Good morning, Commissioners. Before we get into case number 18, we've got case number 10, which was carried over from the October agenda. That will be on the agenda for this coming Thursday. This, if you recall, is regarding the old Hillview Elementary School property in Forestdale, where there was a proposed elementary housing development that was apartments. We got an update from the applicant yesterday. They had met with the neighborhood association out there, and they're changing their development scheme from apartments to just duplexes, several duplex structures on the property, and also came up with some other sort of agreements with regard to like fencing around the perimeter of the property, and no access to egress drive, which that was a built-in condition that we'd already recommended. And so again, this item will be on the agenda for this coming Thursday. If you would like to postpone it again, we can give public notice with the new
Please.
recommendations.
Please.
We would just need a motion on the floor that, this coming Thursday.
Okay.
Okay?
So let me ask this too while we're at it. I got an update as relates to that meeting, are we referring to the project that was held over, young lady that came to represent, and then we had the, public, and then we delayed it so that we could be able to have, they could have more discussion about the
Yes, ma'am.
project? Okay, cause I'm understanding that there's still additional concerns that have not been addressed, so
Okay.
anyway, you already instructed what needs to be.
But yes, ma'am, if we want to hold it over for additional public notice, we can
Yes,
do that.
please.
We can put it on the January's zoning agenda if you
Yes,
like.
yes.
Can we do that now, or do we have to wait until Thursday to do it?
I think we
It's already
probably,
on your agenda, so you need to
Yeah.
make the motion when it comes up on the agenda. This is just you didn't make it.
Yes,
Mark
please.
that, bring it up.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
All right,
all right, so, case number 18 is the new case. This is out on Old Tuscaloosa Highway. This is a request for 134 lot, residential subdivision. The subdivision does, the proposed development does comply with policies of the land use plan for the area, as it is restricted with regards to density. There were some concerns that was raised in the public hearing regarding some, hydrological features on the property, some tributaries to some streams that fed into Valley Creek. Of course, there was some concessions made on regard to that, and the development plan as presented didn't show any development within those, or anywhere near those tributaries, in an effort to stay away from that, to stay away from going around permitting. That would have to be done. Here's the proposed lot layout. There was some concerns about the proposed access as it's shown, as far as right in and right out along those axes, just because they're so close to each other. The Planning and Zoning Commission did recommend approval, restricting the density with conditions. One, restricting the density to 2.08 units per acre. Two, the private package plant septic lines must be located outside of the public right of way. 3, protection of Valley Creek tributaries shall be provided and maintained through the life of the development. And then number 4, a 25-foot buffer shall be maintained along the entirety of the property to mitigate the effects of the difference of densities between the RG zone and the A1 zone. And an 8-foot privacy fence shall be installed along the rear of lots 103 to 121.
How many acres is this? 60.
Yes, sir.
So you're gonna put one of the high density neighborhoods, and they have no sewer?
That's correct. Sewer is not adjacent to this property.
Sewer is not adjacent.
That's correct.
Do we have,
And you're gonna put a private treatment center near Valley Creek?
And it's going to be near the tributary to Valley Creek, not at Valley Creek itself.
You know, that stuff runs downhill, so.
Right.
you know, we had talked about requiring sewer with any of our high density improvements, our subdivisions that we're moving this forward. Because we talked about growing our way out of our sewer problem. If we continue to allow things like this, we will never grow out of it because our available land is not exactly adjacent to a sewer. So how much will it cost to get sewer to that, and is there, how far is sewer away? Where is David then? He's over there. Can I ask you?
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I'll find
It
out.
looks like the trunk line, the nearest trunk line is about 2,500 feet away.
You know, we talked about it on one of these other ones, and it's gonna probably come up again in this meeting or the next, would be to work with the developer to help that line, help put that line in. Because that's gonna be a source of continuing revenue for the sewer system moving forward. And it can only be good for the environment and good for the citizens of Jefferson County if indeed we do that. At least some direction maybe from the management as far as the cost of that and the feasibility of getting it done. And I think we'd even talked about putting a policy in place last time. That this came up, to have some guidelines in which to move forward from. Because if we don't do it, I think we're backing up. I really do. Any thoughts?
Where's Charles Hamilton Road?
It's right off.
It's just on Old Tuscaloosa Highway, McCall.
Well, you know, my concern is this, we let these people do, and that's high density, a lot of people close together, and you're gotta have a place to treat the sewage. But invariably, over time, those things do fail. And then you're gonna have a neighborhood out there that's gonna be, unhappy, and then you're gonna get some issues with maybe the tributary to the creek. And it just, it's gonna fall back on the county commission. And that's just something, I don't want a commission 10 or 15 years from now to go say, man, they should have let all these people put in these private rooms because it's falling back on us. Because we know how things in the past fell on us when we came in. So I'd like to look at an alternative district. 2,500 feet is half a mile.
It would have to be motion on the 23rd thing. We did advertise it's in legal.
Well,
I understand that.
That's certainly.
I'd like to add a couple of other provisions from the commission. Is it with, connection to the sewer and a 50-foot buffer.
50-foot buffer? Okay.
That's kind of what we've been doing, you know, something that's high density as this. And I think that's something that, I think we denied some 6-foot buffers, last meeting. And to go back to 25 on something like this. It's really not a high density area. So if we're going to have this as a public hearing, I'd like to make those, two changes to it and let the developer come and speak to that. And perhaps we can have management to let us know what we can do as far as connecting it to sewer and work through, understand the cost of it and the potential revenue moving forward. You know, there's gonna be tap fees involved in each one of those and continuing, revenue for our ESD department going forward with it, so. Any thoughts from any other commissioner?
I agree with everything you just said. I haven't been here as long as anybody else, but to keep doing things the same way, we're never gonna make any progress. Like we just said, get it out on the table and just see what's cost, what's available, so we can move forward. And like you said, we generate some income from the plan for fundability needs in the future. I agree.
So I'll move this to the agenda with those two stipulations.
Have a motion in a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Thank you. All right. For our next controversial, we're gonna pull the item 2-23-0030.
Yes, sir. Briefly, that case was inadvertently advanced to the county commission's agenda through the minute draft that didn't need to be. And again, we just need to pull that item. It was withdrawn just before the planning and zoning commission hearing, or not withdrawn, but requested the developer to postpone it. And so, again, it wasn't really a good way of minute track to put that through. And anyway, it inadvertently got advanced to this agenda by mistake, so.
And there hasn't been a public hearing, so
That's
not.
correct. It has not gone through the planning and zoning commission.
Oh, okay. So what's the proper term? Do we pull it? Do we?
I think it just needs to be pulled, because it's an error.
All right, do I have a motion? Have a motion. All in favor, please say aye. Thank you. All right, Z-23-0031.
Case number 31 is a compliance case. You've got the property that has residential zoning on it, and there's a church that's on the property, and it is just compliance to bring it into conformity with the zoning resolution.
I move. Have a motion in a second. All in favor, please say aye. Thank you. Z-23-0033.
All right, yeah, this is, there's a small portion of this property that has commercial zoning on it, and this is just to bring it into compliance with the zoning resolution, in order to either consolidate this with the adjacent property.
I move. Have a motion. All in favor, please say aye. Thank you. Z-23-0034.
Yes, sir, this
No,
is
you can't let the green lantern go. Green lantern, that's been there for 100 years. There's a lot of them, people got drunk in there.
It is an institution.
That's Judy.
Best crawfish in the world. Now, are they're gonna set, they have crawfish too?
I know it probably was.
I thought it was a strip.
Was it a strip club?
No, it's not a strip club.
I just said it was.
You're familiar with the movie Roadhouse, right?
They probably been stripping. Lots of people.
It's an institution. Green Lantern and Green Top.
That's been there a long time, I know that.
But, yeah, the plan is, the applicant's in negotiation to sell the property for the construction of a convenience store. And this is right on the outside of the, industrial park.
Yeah.
Planning and zoning commission recommend approval of this request.
I'm moving.
Do I have a motion to kill Green Lantern? So moved. And a second. Further discussion. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. That was a resounding quiet.
I know.
Z-23-0035.
This is sort of an odd request in a way. This is a property that's currently in Vestating. They're looking to or they have de-annexed a rear portion of it. And what they're planning on doing is converting this rear portion of this property into 2 garden home lots that will then join with the Gramercy Park development that's there to the rear. The front portion will be commercial, but will remain in Vestavia city limits. The Planning and Zoning Commission did recommend approval of this request with the condition that a privacy fence be installed and maintained along the western property boundary between the proposed commercial and residential uses, in addition to the required 15-foot planted buffer in order to provide a visual screen.
Did you say that they're gonna get development of 2 additional lots
Yes, sir.
for,
An existing garden home, so to
so
speak.
2 houses, basically?
Yes, sir.
Okay, not a new, added to the yard.
No, just 2 lots. 2 lots that will be served by sanitary sewer.
All right, do I have a motion? So moved. A motion. Do I have a second? I'll second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Thank you.
All right, and the case number 36, next item on the agenda, this is out of Bent Brook Golf Course. There's a lot of split zoning out on the property, and this is to bring it into conformance with the proposed subdivision of the property. The subdivision is sort of unique in the fact that they're just subdividing basically the building footprint of the clubhouse from the remaining golf course. And I believe they're doing all this for tax purposes. But what this will end up with is the clubhouse retaining its C3 zoning, which is like a lounge zoning that allows for sale of alcohol. And then the remaining would be zoned C2, which would be for the golf course itself.
So moved. Motion. Second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
C 230038.
All right, this is out on Pennsylvania Parkway. If you remember a few months ago, we had someone come through that wanted to repurpose this existing church building for an automotive repair operation. That rezoning was approved to go to C1. Since then, he's negotiated the property for sale for a church that wants to use it as a church. So we're basically using a church building for a church, and then we're zoning for it.
So we've gone from a church to an auto repair shop.
Yeah.
To a RV storage area, back to a church. I think there was some RV stuff we're talking about. All right, but we're gonna be a church.
Church.
Holy. All right, do I have a motion? All in favor, please say aye.
You want a second, though?
Yeah, I'll say it's church. Just goes to red. All right, thank you. All right, tax assessor. Yeah, you walked in the door. Good. Does somebody need to explain this, John?
Okay.
What you got?
We have the senior special exemption passed by the legislature last year.
And when you say the special exemption, you talk about if you're over 65, you live in your house 5 years, your property taxes don't go up.
Well, not that they don't go up, which frees the assessed value. There could be other factors that cause the taxes to increase, but yeah. So that's what that is. And so this is the vendor, helping us comply with state statute.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Had nothing to do with you all. But the commission wasn't communicated with when this bill came. So as I understand it to be, is that 65 and older, that law, basically, the provision of the law says that you purchase new property, not existing property, but you would have to reside at that property for 5 years, a minimum of 5 years, in order to be tax exempt eligible. Am I correct in that?
No, ma'am. It would only be for existing property. So purchasing a new property would not make you eligible. Does that make sense? Because you have to be there 5 years in order to receive to be eligible for that new special senior exemption.
No, so you saying what I'm saying?
Okay,
I'm making it very concise so the public can understand it. In other words, if you 65, you go purchase new property, then that means you gotta live at that property, claim homestead for that property for a minimum of 5 years in order to be tax exempt, right?
Well, not exempt. In order for, what I probably should do, borrow a brochure and I'll make sure that you get one.
Okay.
But, so this is not to exempt them from paying taxes. This is for people that are over 65 who pay some type of tax because their income is above the $12,000 threshold that the state requires, or they're not permanently, disabled or blind now. based on the new update to the statute. I think it's 40-9-19D or something like that.
So if it is 12,000 or greater income, then there's a reduced amount. It's not a prorated amount, it's just a reduced
It's
amount
just,
that you
yeah.
get.
It's just,
Yes, ma'am. Good.
it stays where it is, right?
No, so.
If you're over 65 and you've been paying the property tax based on the assessment stays the same if you've been there 5 years and you're over 65.
So you guys are talking about two different things, so you give me a second to lay out the two different things that you guys are discussing.
Oh, which one is this?
That is for what you're talking about. We're doing an upgrade for that. The commission asked about something completely different.
Right.
Which is, I'm trying to,
Homestead.
yeah. So with that being said, there are different variations for tax exemptions. This one was new. So the legislature just passed this, last year, yeah. And you weren't the only one that didn't know we didn't either. so once we saw it on the ballot, we made some inquiries, right, into that. And but since that time, moving forward, since that time, we've been in communication as to what the legislature wanted to see. Hence, we got a new deadline, because we've had several deadlines since it started. We have a new deadline that allowed them up until December 31st of this year to claim either last year or this year, depending on which year was lower in value. So
You gonna provide us with the language of that, because I think that, especially since I hear Solomon with clicking, and at least he was early, that he needs to write this too. Good for us. That people need to know and have, because they're up in a meeting, and they need to have a good understanding in terms of that, because when people hear that that's only, that legislative act only affected Jefferson County, then people look at us as the county commissioners that you don't even know the substance of that amendment.
So
We don't even know.
So the only other county in the state that has something similar, not quite what was passed here, is Baldwin County. It's similar in that regard, but not the same. Here is something, so this is unique only to Jefferson County. There are only two counties in the state that deal with anything like this. And Jefferson County had to be one. I mean, Jefferson County is the first in a lot of situations. We got 6 times, 7 times more parcels than anybody in the state. We have most large counties in the state have 1 TIF. We have 5. We have a lot of challenges here in Jefferson County.
So just for clarification, for public consumption, give that to me again about the 65, and based upon the new law, walk me through that process again.
Okay, so the over 65 exemptions, there are several. One, being over 65 will exempt you from paying the state's portion of the tax. If you're over 65 years old and you make less than $12,000 a year on your federal and your state, then your taxable income not made. Your taxable income is less than $12,000 a year on federal and state, you're totally exempt from taxes. If you're over 65 years old and you get a letter from 2 separate doctors, one, saying that you're permanently and totally disabled, you will, qualify for a disability. You also have, disability exemption is irregardless of age. And then you have now the blind that was added here recently as of 2021, I believe, which allows you to be exempt from taxes.
What about the disabled people?
There's no if they're disabled, it's not a provision for veterans. What is sort of unfortunate with the veterans is that the Veteran Administration has to declare them 100% disabled in order for them to meet the disability criteria. We don't know why somebody's not 100%. We don't know. We don't know why the Veteran Administration does it, but they have to be 100%.
So, but again, I just want to be clear because I made the notes. 65 and older purchasing new property.
Okay, so
How does that law apply in that regard?
So it wouldn't be anybody who purchases new property because they have, I'm gonna go to the seniors, the special seniors, something like that's what we're going with.
Yes.
Okay. So, with the previous ones I mentioned, there is no weight requirement for them to claim the exemptions. Okay, so all of those exemptions that I mentioned previously, which is the being over 65, age and income, disability, there's no weight requirement at all for them to apply for those. They can apply for those, as soon as they purchase the property, as you mentioned. The senior special exemption does have a wait period of 5 years. So if they purchase the property in 2023, they would have minimum to wait to 28 until they're eligible for the freeze. That is not an exemption of taxes, that's a freeze in their value.
Okay. And so, I'm sorry, so when we say freezing property, that just means that where you are right now is where you'll be in 5 years.
No, ma'am, it's wherever that property lands in that 5-year period. So let me use an example. I'm John Smith, right? John buys property in 2023. John's 65 years old. He has to wait until 2028 before he's eligible for what they're considering to be value freeze. That means that whatever his property is valued at in 2028, that's the value that he's eligible to freeze at that time. And then, and at that point,
So for example, if I live in Norwood, okay, which is in the district.
Yes, ma'am.
Alright, and so I purchased a new property, I'm 65, 5 years later, the property that I purchased at $40,000 is now $1.4 million.
Yes, ma'am.
So then therefore at 5 years to the date of when the property was purchased, and that means that I'm now paying at a $1.4 million assessed value,
Yes, ma'am.
not $40,000 that I purchased 5 years ago. Okay.
Does this apply only to homestead?
Yes, it has to be your
That
primary
needs
residence.
to be clear.
Yeah, no, it has to be your primary residence.
Right.
We have not addressed this yet, Mr. Lawson, I'm sorry, but we're gonna ask the county attorney to write an AG opinion for us dealing with adjacent land. The statute did not include that, but there are situations where we provide homesteads on adjacent land, just not to freeze, because it says that it has to be it has to be your primary residence. So we're gonna have to ask that question since the legislature didn't address it.
Adjacent meaning contingent to,
Yes, sir.
maybe you got another parcel that's out
Yes,
here.
sir.
And then, all right, let me just ask this there, and basically, because this is something I didn't know about, I found out. John and Mary were married in 2010, they lived in the same house since then. John's 2 years older than Mary. When John reaches 65, they're eligible for the exemption. Doesn't have to be both of them.
Yes.
It just has to be one.
Yes, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Lawson, you can correct me, of course, but the state of Alabama considers a married couple as one, is that correct? Yeah, so since they're considered as one entity,
Whoever reaches 65.
whoever get there first.
3 more years to go.
And go push it.
Marry the senior.
You get that soon enough.
One of the things that I've